If you do the work-life balance as we define it now, okay, maybe you're happy at the work and you're happy at home, but how's your health? Are you eating healthy? Are you living a healthy lifestyle? How is your spiritual life? Do you have a spiritual life? Are you connected to a higher purpose? And then how is your contribution to society? Do you contribute outside other than your home?
Welcome to Sage Conversations, where we believe everyone has an innate light and power to heal. I am Michiko.
And I'm Roanna. We are wellness practitioners. Join us each week as we explore holistic healing, spiritual and personal growth journeys with experts, amateurs, and friends.
Be inspired to foster your inner light and live your best life.
Welcome everyone to another Sage Conversations episode. So we've seen and we've held topics on self-love, self-awareness. We've seen like a common theme in our past episodes. And of course, when it comes to personal development, something that we've pinned down is that it's always an introspection or always going inward. And today we're so happy to have our next guest that Roanna will introduce. And you will see just a focus on a different, let's say, topic altogether, but still connected on self-mastery.
Yes, and I'm so excited. We're very honored to be joined by Lesley Geronimo. This episode, she is among many hats, a balanced life strategist and mentor at the Wisdom Institute for Leadership and Global Advancement. That title aside, I mean, her life story alone, what I know so far and what we can probably get into in this episode is that she led a very fulfilling and happy life when she was based here in Manila. She had a successful business and real estate. She did a lot of charity work through her Rotary Club. She traveled a lot, performed professionally, nationwide, co-founded fitness communities. I mean, she did it all. She was even a Spartan raiser. So imagine like having that kind of lifestyle and yet still feeling that she was still yearning for something deeper. I think that's what she shared with us earlier outside this episode. Like she was still searching for something and yearning for something more. And she left that lifestyle behind, that life in Manila a few years ago, more than 2 years ago now, to move to Ilocos Sur to live a simpler life. She made a 180-degree lifestyle change from a busy and active lifestyle to a simple rural life. And that's where she learned more about like self-mastery and since she's been helping a lot of other people live a more balanced life amongst other things. So that's what we're going to get into this episode. And again, I would love to introduce and very honored to introduce Lesley to this episode. Hi, Lesley.
Hi.
Hello, Roanna and Michiko. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I feel honored and pleasured to have this opportunity to talk to you and to your listeners in this podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I don't know, should we get into your life story first or self-mastery? Like, Michiko, where do you think we should start?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can even have 2 episodes or more on that. I think it's important for us and for our listeners to also just get to know you, right? And
yes.
Amazing but true facts about you. Yeah.
Okay.
So you said that there was that pivotal point in your life. Mm-hmm. Where you didn't even imagine yourself moving to the mountains, but you did. What was that calling?
Okay, so just to give you a brief summary of how it happened. So ever since before, I can't even remember how long ago, but many years ago, probably when I was still young, I always felt like I was going to move somewhere, but I thought I was going to move to Europe. And then I always gravitate towards nature. But before, it was more of the beach. I was more of a beach person, and I always love nature. I do grounding. I teach people how to roll over the grass or roll over the hill, something like that, or climb trees, or just anything with nature. I just have this affinity with nature. And like what you mentioned earlier, I was into so many things, right? But I was always still searching for something, like the deeper truths in life. I felt like there was something more than this. I was achieving so many things, but at the same time, I felt like there was something beyond these things that we are achieving, what we are. There's like this who we are that I still need to answer. So in my search, I've been to different places, gone to different retreats, and explored different things. And I was always in international groups, by the way, like mastermind groups. I even went to a live Tony Robbins event. I was mentored
Oh
by...
my gosh, me too.
Yeah, right? It was fun. So I met one, a very amazing people there. And I got into mastermind groups with them. I was even mentored by Joseph McClendon, if you remember him. So
Yeah.
Joseph McClendon III was his right-hand guy. So I was even mentored by him. I was even with Mind Valley. And I even went to Vishen Lakhani's office in Malaysia. One time when I went to a Spartan race. So like what you mentioned, I was also doing Spartan race. I was also dancing professionally. I have my real estate career. I was happy, but also it was not I felt like there's another higher form of happiness. It just felt like it's like a plateau, something like that. I felt like I was plateauing. And then I found myself at the beach, December of 2018. This was Christmas and New Year. I didn't want to make any plans with anyone. I just wanted to connect with nature. So that's what I was doing there. I was there for a few weeks, just connecting with nature, aligning, meditating. And then until one day I get a phone call about about this program. It actually wasn't clear yet to me at that time what this program was, but I wanted to learn I wanted to have a certification on meditation, and I wanted to go to India. And I wanted to, because I was leading people how to do meditation at that time, but I wasn't really certified yet. So I wanted to learn that. So they, in my understanding, it's going to be meditation, it's going to be energy healing, but it wasn't clear to me what it was. So I told them I'm still in the beach and the program starts in a week. And I'm not sure how that will go because it's a 6-month thing. I don't think I can leave my life. So I didn't really mind it. So fast forward, I got back to Manila. They gave me a call. And then next thing I know, it didn't make sense. I was there already. I was on top of the mountain in Ilocos Sur. I don't know what happened, because if I followed logic, I wouldn't be there and I wouldn't be here where I am right now. Like what Blaise Pascal said, the heart has reason that reason knows nothing of. If I didn't follow at that time, I thought it was just my gut feel. If I didn't follow my gut feel at that time to just take that leap and go, then I wouldn't have experienced the immense expansion that I've experienced and the greater service that I'm doing more now. So that's basically the gist of how that started. And after that, there's so many more things to say.
I'm sure. But it correct me if I'm wrong, it only took you a week from that call to actually move.
Yes.
Out of
actually, it took me a day to decide to go. When they talked to me, it was like, it was supposed to be an interview, but it didn't seem like an interview. It seemed like I was going there already. And then I was still like, what? Am I really going to do this? 6 months of my life? I'm going to, what will I do with my everything? Like, I have so many things going on every day. So what will I do with that? But I don't know what happened. I just really left it. But everything worked out. When you're aligned, everything will just fall into place and it'll work out. And it did. It worked out. And I didn't even have any problem leaving anything behind. And I even had a stay-in maid at that time. So she was there guarding the house. So I just had to leave everything. And in my head, in my understanding, I cannot come back for a whole 6-month period. So even with that idea of not being able to come back in your life for 6 months, that didn't stop me. So
that's
what
the quantum
was it
leap.
about? Yeah, and what was it about the program that made it so easy for you to make that decision within a day and move a week later? You were looking for something, but what was it about the call that made you say, you know what, this is a risk worth taking?
Right.
Honestly, it wasn't, like what I said, it wasn't clear to me what the program was about. But in my understanding, it was about higher consciousness. It was about these advanced teachings about self-mastery, about energy healing. But it wasn't really clear to me at that time what exactly it was. But I guess at that point in my life, I was really searching for something deeper and higher than what I already achieved. That's why that made it easy for me to make that jump, and because I was ready. And this is what I've been looking for in my everyday walking by the beach, trying to, connect and align. So it was here. It just fell on my lap.
I guess it was that curiosity. And, there's this saying, when you're ready, a teacher will appear. When you're looking for one, it'll just appear. And maybe that was that for you. And that was the most clear, even though it's still uncertain for you.
Yes.
Because you're already at that point where you were already looking for answers and you were looking for, I guess, a teacher. I mean, this became the clearest path for you. And
yes.
Yeah, I guess
and,
that was it.
It's true because, in the looking back in the different levels of my development, I always had some sort of teacher and mentor. And it always becomes like a more higher and higher type of level of teacher, right? And I guess my soul knew that the one that I had at that time, which I also ended before going to Boracay, because I ended everything, all the groups. I felt like, I had to go somewhere else. I don't know why, but that's how I felt like. So I ended it all. And I don't know, I was ready for the next step. Maybe that's what it was. That's why I ended it all. And the next step arrived. Like what you said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
And I know like one of the things that you really focused on once you moved was like among the many hats that you currently wear through that program since you moved. Like one of the things you focus on right now is self-mastery.
Yes.
So can we first sort of explore the meaning of self-mastery? Through your training, like, could you explain to us, like, what is self-mastery?
Okay, so self-mastery is a very wide topic. Before I explain to you what self-mastery is, I think it's better to explain to you the path that leads to that, right?
Okay.
So usually people first is on a path of success. You are trying to look for success. You're trying to strive for success, right? That's why, we work hard, we do these things, we get busy with whatever it is that we think or define success in our life, right? And as you advance, you now want to have more balance in your life. So this one that I'm telling you right now, this is what I'm helping people with. It depends on which spectrum they're at, right? So from the path of success, you now move towards a path of balance. And in the path of balance, you have five key areas of your life that you need to balance. Most people think it's just a work-life balance, right? So you balance your work and you balance your home. You associate life as the home, right? It's like the work-home balance. It's something like that. But if you do the work-life balance as we define it now, okay, maybe you're happy at the work and you're happy at home, but how's your health? Are you healthy?
Okay.
Are you eating healthy? Are you living a healthy lifestyle? How is your spiritual life? Do you have a spiritual life? Are you connected to a higher purpose? And then how is your contribution to society? Do you contribute outside other than your home? So these are the other aspects that you need to consider. So aside from the career and work, you have the family and home, you have the social life and environmental contribution, you have your health and recreation, and you have your spiritual life. So from there, as you balance your life, you later, as you advance more, you also are looking for a higher purpose. So the more advanced you are, the more balanced your life will be. And the more balanced your life is, the more you're looking for something else, a higher purpose, like a higher meaning for whatever it is that you're doing in your life. And then when you achieve that, you feel happy, you feel fulfilled. And then once you feel happy and you feel fulfilled, at one point, again, this path of fulfillment, at one point you will saturate again and you'll plateau. And then what's next? So some people go through this feeling of apathy or meaninglessness or nothingness, or like whatever success they have, it doesn't have any meaning anymore. You start questioning your beliefs, you start questioning everything, or you feel depressed, or you think it's depression, but it's not. It's more of like a psychospiritual condition. It's called actually Master Del Rey calls it the dark night of the soul syndrome. So he actually has a book on that. So from that, when you reach that point, it's your soul telling you that you need to go to your next level of development. So the next level of development is your path to enlightenment, or path of self-mastery. So self-mastery is actually realizing who you are and not just what you are, plus your self-actualization. So it's not complete to just realize who you are and the higher virtues and the higher philosophies and all of these things that you're learning and applying you need to apply in your life. But you need to combine that or marry that with actually doing it, physicalizing it, applying it, actualizing it. So self-mastery is self-realization with self-actualization. So when you are in that path of enlightenment, or when you're in that path of self-mastery, you have the sense of serenity, it's even above happiness. It's not just happiness, it's serenity, because happiness can be happy, can be sad. It's like fleeting, right? But when you're in that path, there's serenity because you feel more aligned. There's more alignment. Uh-huh. You're more connected to your higher self, to the higher purpose, to the divine. So I guess that's how I can explain it. Okay. And this is actually what I've been learning from Master Del Rey. So Master Del Rey is the one who personally trained me on all of these things. It's a modern sage. It's a global leadership expert, mentor to many, many global CEOs. He's also the founder of the 3 US-based institutes that I mentioned to you before.
Uh-huh.
But we can talk about that next time. Wow. So I learned everything from Master Del Rey. So when I was ready, Master Del Rey appeared.
Wait, well, to be honest, that was quite a lot. So maybe if we could dissect that.
Sure.
I mean that's amazing. Like the way you explain self-mastery, I've never heard anyone like explain it that way. But how I understand it is sort of like the integration of what we are and who we are. Because like what we are is what we do, is our work. But in becoming who we are, like it also requires work towards our purpose or sense of fulfillment. And from what I know about purpose and fulfillment, it's always changing because we're always evolving and growing. Mm-hmm. So when we sort of reach a certain level of fulfillment and purpose in life, that's not the end all be all. There's always something, there's always the next level. And so being grounded in the present and sort of integrating our work with like who we are gets us to that like level of self-actualization and self-realization. Is that, did I understand that correctly? Because, and I guess that process, the entire process is self-mastery.
Yes. Well, going back to what you said, the who you are and what we are. The what we are is not just our work. What we are is like the labels that we put on ourselves. Mm-hmm. Like I am a mother, I am a member of this organization, mm-hmm. I have this accolades, I am this, I am that. So that is what you are. But if you strip away everything, all of those achievements and accolades and everything else, what is left of you? That is the who you are. This is the higher virtues. This is your soul manifesting in the who you are as a person right now. Mm-hmm. So that's the who you are. And the more you go into the path of fulfillment and enlightenment, the more aligned you will be with what your soul's purpose is, or what your higher purpose is, right? And, the more you go into this path of enlightenment and path of self-mastery, the more you also do greater service, not just to the people around you, or not just the people in your home, not just the people around in your community, but a larger scale, like a bigger scale, like even to the whole world. So that, I think that's one of the greatest things that we can do while we're here, right? As we evolve, as we continuously expand our consciousness, and as we continuously master ourselves, the more we are able to do greater service to make this whole world a better place, especially now what's happening in the whole world, right? We need more enlightened leaders We need more wisdom in leadership. We need more conscience in entrepreneurship, not just for profit, for producing these whatever necessities that we need just for profit. We need more consciousness in that to make it a win-win situation at all times. We need leaders to really make wise decisions for the better, for a better future for everyone.
Right. And yeah, definitely, because as we have more and more years in this consciousness, as you said, or yeah, I like that term of also conscious entrepreneurship, then everyone also follows or elevates, right? I also wanted to go back. You mentioned the different paths, right? The path of success, the path of balance. Is that something that each one of us experiences at a time, or like, is there a flow, or just that you experience it one or the other? And my other question that follows is, in each phase or path, do we always experience that dark night on the soul to know that, we're ready or yearning for the next phase?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Thank you for that question. In terms of the different, timelines or when to expect these different paths, right? It depends on how developed you are. Because some people, they're not in the path of success. They're just in the path of complacency or whatever it is, that they're just happy with where they're at. They're not even striving for success. So that's a different story, right? So for the others, they are striving for success. They really want to succeed in life in whatever definition of success they have. So when they are done with that, it can come early on in life. It can be like as young as a teenager. It can even be as old as maybe, I don't know, when you're a senior citizen. I'm not. It really varies person to person. It depends on the person's level of development. That's how I can say it. So, like what I also mentioned before, I help people go from self-care to self-development to self-mastery, right? Because there are people who need more attention on their health and wellness and total well-being. So we need to take care of the self-care aspect, right? And then after that, we go on the self-development, and then we go on the self-mastery. So it really depends where you're at and how fast you're progressing, or how fast you are expanding your consciousness and your growth and your development. And as I mentioned before, as you advance, as you're a more advanced person, the more you realize the importance of being more balanced in other areas of your life, not just the work, not just the family, or you see more that the work-life balance, it's just, life is not just the home. Life is also other aspects of your life. So the more advanced you are, the more you see that you have different facets that you need to balance. And the more advanced you are, these different areas of your life become more and more merged. So if you see it in your eyes, like if you imagine the 5 different areas of your life as different circles. So try to do this exercise with me. So there are 5 different circles around you. And if you think about it, how balanced your life is, how are they overlapping? Do they overlap, or they don't at all? Or are they really merged into one? The more evolved, the more enlightened you are, the more merged into one it is, until you only see one circle. It's not 5 separate circles anymore, but just one circle. So that, my dears, I guess can also summarize what self-mastery is. When you are able to balance all 5 areas of your life, and you're living a life of higher virtues, higher philosophies, and always choosing the right over the wrong, or choosing right and not just correct. We can also talk about that.
Right.
So being right and not just correct, just having wisdom in the decisions that you have. So that mastery of the basic, the mastery of life is a mastery of basics. If you can master even the basic stuff, then it'll be easier for you to master life ahead of its time.
And since you mentioned that you've been to a Tony Robbins event before, just as I have, like I do recall him saying, instead, like I also we've covered in the past in a previous episode the power of words, and how Tony Robbins frames that life work-life balance, he doesn't call it that anymore. In fact, he pushes us to transcend that meaning. Instead of calling it a work-life balance, work-life integration. Because as you said, like as you helped us picture all of those different key areas, your health, your spirituality, your contribution to society, your home and family life, your work. I mean, the more advanced you are, the more integrated they are. So it's not separating them and trying to achieve balance in all those areas, but integrating them as one and making sure that they maintain balance while they're integrated.
Yes.
So I love that visualization, like us allowing us to see them as overlapping lines, and the more advanced, the more whole they become together.
Yes.
Our listeners don't see it, but we both closed our eyes as she guided us, as Lesley guided us through those. And I'm like, wow, amazing.
Yes, I hope you guys did the same. Like close your eyes and try to imagine all those different like key areas and see where you are. I guess like that's a good practice to ground yourself in your current state.
I have to say, Lesley, and I thank you, and how I have been in this space of just also searching. And as you were going through the different paths, I was also asking myself at the back of my mind, like, where am I? Like, path of success, path of balance. So yeah, interesting. I'll definitely take that offline or home as I reflect also, and I hope and we hope that listeners will take something from that, because it's true. It's not just work-life balance. It's all this integration of things, and always like what you call this. As you look inward, there's always that outward effect also, as we see.
Yes, that's right. And like what I mentioned earlier, the more advanced you are, the greater service you do as well. It's not just about you advancing yourself or advancing the people around you, like physically close to you, but also even people you don't know, people like in a larger scale. So from love, like a conditional love, you'll have unconditional love. You do things not just because you're getting something in return, but because you're doing greater service to humanity, not just actually community, even to humanity.
Absolutely. I wanted to also anchor back to how you said that master of life is master of basics.
Mastery of
life is mastery of basics. Mm-hmm. So how basic is basic?
Even the basic things, how you are in one thing is how you are in all things. If you are, let's say, you wake up late or you're always late for going to the gym, even as simple as going to the gym. And maybe you're also like that late in other aspects of your life. So if you can master getting there on time, how can you master bigger projects or bigger things that are bigger responsibilities that will be given to you? So
yeah, it's all in the small things. Like my parents would always say, if you can't be trusted with the small things, how can you be trusted with the big things?
Yes, so it's the same concept.
Okay, interesting. I mean, just wanted to digest that for also our listeners. Like, if they wanted to identify where they could further improve on, it's good to actually, just keep it simple. If you wanted to like change like what you said, being late, maybe it starts with waking up early. Or I remember this one that always helps me is like when you make your bed, it feels like you've already taken over your day.
Yeah.
So even as simple as making your bed.
Yes. So even the simple things, they matter a lot.
And you know what? In all previous episodes, at least I've noticed a similarity amongst like all our guests, and even with ourselves, like Michiko and myself, with the kind of work that we practice, with Michiko as a theta healer, with me as a health coach, and previous guests with what they do. Like the very first person that we get to help through our work is ourselves. Like I know I'm into health coaching because, I'm very passionate about health, and I'm also, coaching myself through it, and also leaning on other coaches throughout my own like health healing journey. I want to go back to your experience, because you made that quantum leap to move to Ilocos Sur to learn about self-mastery. But like, how has it helped you in your life?
Okay. So when I moved there, it was actually major lifestyle change, right? It's a 180-degree lifestyle change. From living a very active, busy, happy lifestyle to moving to the mountains. But, we have everything there, by the way. It's not as if there's no electricity or anything like that. It's not like that.
Yeah,
so it's still a normal place of living, but we don't wear masks there. No need to wear masks. Everything's so fresh. So what I can say in this past 2 years that I've been on this path, like what I was mentioning earlier, you can be happy, right? But happiness is fleeting. What I experience here is more of serenity, like alignment, inner peace, joy. So it's like, no matter what happens, you go back to that. It's like the normal things that would possibly affect you in the past, it won't affect you more now. Now I see things in a bigger picture. I just don't see what we're doing now here in Manila. I see the world as not just the Philippines, but also the whole world, and not just the world, but also the world just being a tiny dot in the whole universe and the cosmos and all that. That's another topic.
Yeah.
So it really puts things in perspective. I realized that there's so much awakening that we all need to undergo. A lot of people are still sleeping. They need to wake up. And the more awake you are, the more you will realize that life could be simpler. Life could be a life of no suffering. Because right now, things are very separative, right? I do this for me. This is me. This is. I'm not saying everyone, okay, but there's like separativeness. There's like the me. The more we realize that we are all one, that all in one and one in all, the more unity we'll have through diversity, harmony through diversity, and then the less suffering we'll have, the less conflict we'll have. Yeah, the more beneficial things will be in terms of business, in terms of leadership, in terms of everything in life. Looking back, do I want to go back to my old life? Yes, it was fun, but now it's a different kind of fun. I still have fun in the mountains. It's a different kind of fun. It's actually so much fun. It's so much fulfilling. I am happy. And it's a higher form of happiness. And plus, I'm able to do greater service. And I thought I was doing great service already before, like feeding 1,000 people or something like that. That's great service, right? But now it's like much greater, because it's not just feeding people or providing them jobs or teaching them a skill or something like that, but it's also feeding the soul. So when you feed the soul, and when you expand someone, and when you help them go to their next level of development, that's magic.
That's you fulfilling your purpose.
Yeah. That's a great service, right? So
wow, that's quite a journey. And I guess, well, if I can just go back to what you said, once you're in that journey towards enlightenment, you get to realize that life can be simpler. But just to clarify, that's not really, we're not encouraging everyone to move to the mountains, live a rural life. What you mean is like a simple life that's devoid of suffering, whether you're in the city or not, right? That's what you mean. And then it's again towards that visual diagram that you guided us through, seeing those circles as more integrated. But you made that quantum leap. That was a big step, leaving the life that you had here and moving to train for 6 months, not coming back to the life that you left behind. But earlier, we also talked about you taking that small steps. When are there ways for us to identify like when it's the right time to take that big leap, that huge risk, versus the daily, like taking the small steps?
Like when they say, the best time to plant a mango tree was 10 years ago. The next best time is now. So in anything, if you are going to go for your growth, your personal development, or your next step in life, then why not just go for it, right? Go at it with everything, with all your heart and with all your effort. It doesn't mean you need to go to the mountains, like what I said. You don't need to go do that. But just always have this desire to learn and expand and grow and look find a mentor. That's what I can say. I mean, it will help if you meditate, you do yoga, you become vegetarian, you become vegan. It will help. Those are expressions that will help. But if you really want to get serious, which I think we should all, I would recommend we all do, find a mentor. Find a mentor that can guide you through this path, and do whatever it takes to be with that mentor, because what you can learn from that mentor in just a few hours, you can probably, you would need to read many books or digest many things before you can learn whatever it is that you can learn from a mentor. So find that mentor who is enlightened, who can guide you to your next level of development. So with the baby steps, yes, you can do the baby steps. Why not go all in and find a mentor and who would guide you how to do it in the how to integrate it in your life so that you can have a more balanced life, a more fulfilling life, and a more enlightened life in return.
So I guess the process then towards self-mastery is finding that balance between yearning for growth and your comfort, or your sense of because
finding the balance.
Yeah, because a lot of times when we don't push ourselves so much, it's because we're so comfortable where we are, and we sometimes fear the uncertainty, right? So it's about finding that balance.
I understand. I think I understand what you're saying. Some people are just satisfied with what is, right?
Right.
But
the
sometimes,
contentment.
yes, but sometimes that's when the dark night happens.
When you are not back to that dark night. Yeah.
So when you are not listening to what your soul is telling you, that you need to go to the next level, and then the dark night of the soul happens.
Right.
Sometimes you'll feel like what I mentioned earlier. You'll think maybe, am I depressed? Why am I feeling this way? Or let's say you're successful, but all the money in the world is not making you happy anymore. Nothing has meaning anymore. I came to that point when I was in the beach more than 2 years ago. I was happy, but it just didn't. I didn't understand what I was actually feeling that time. It's like it didn't mean anything, but it has a lot of meaning. I didn't understand it. So I was going through a mini dark night at that time. But the dark night of the soul can hit hard. Some go through a major accident, an injury, a disease, just to wake them up. Mm-hmm. Just to wake them up. And if you notice, there are people who go through a major crisis in their life, or have a near-death experience, or got a serious disease, and then they survived it. And then their life changes. Right. They become more spiritual, or more awakened, more alive, mm-hmm. and their lifestyle now is geared more towards becoming a better person and doing greater service. So the dark night of the soul is real, and it's not something that is hormonal or you can cure with medicine. It's like what I mentioned, it's a psychospiritual condition that has something to do with your soul. Yeah. And we also heal that. The dark night of the soul syndrome.
I guess that's where the saying comes from, get yourself out of your own way. Yeah, because I guess our biggest critic is ourselves. Mm-hmm. When we're so comfortable in that, if we sit so much in that feeling of safety, we hold ourselves back from growing. If we have those experiences, traumatic experiences or life-changing experiences, but if we don't allow ourselves to transform through them, then we're the only ones who are in our way. When it comes to our journey towards self-mastery, I guess it's just learning how to push ourselves beyond our comfort levels, to use those experiences, our experiences, to grow and get to that next level towards integration, whole life integration.
And you know what? In life, the important thing also is learning the lesson in every situation. Whenever something happens, you need to ask yourself, what is the lesson here? We also need to develop that kind of detachment. If something happens to us, people tend to get swallowed by the emotions, by the situation. But we need to learn how to detach. We actually have tools that we teach, like what I taught you earlier, the more you do that, the more detached you will be in terms of external things that will affect you. The synchronized breathing I taught you earlier. So, the more you aligned you are, the more you go into this path of self-mastery, the more unwavering you will be. Whatever happens around you, you'll just be aligned. And if something happens, you think, you evaluate, you audit yourself, you assess, okay, what is the lesson here? So that because if you don't learn the lesson now, it'll come back again, and maybe a bigger hammering will happen. It'll come in a different form. And also, like in the Bible, they said, you reap what you sow, right?
Yeah.
So if you do good things, you also reap good things later on in different forms. If you do bad things, you also reap bad things later on. So everything in life, we deserve, good or bad, we deserve. This is one of the things I also learned. At first, I didn't really understand, like, what, everything in life we deserve? That's harsh. But it's true. Even the Bible said it. You reap what you sow. It's a universal law. It's a law. We call it, for some, they understand it as the law of karma. So again, everything in life we deserve. That's why we always strive to do what is right. So there's a difference between rightness and correctness. Correct is just the logical correct. Rightness is more right than correct because it has wisdom in it. So it's like a higher form. It's the higher level of what is right.
And is it that the more integrated we are, would you say that the less and less, or the farther we are from experiencing the dark night syndrome? Is that connected at all?
Well, the
dark night happens because then it pushes us to the next level.
Well, yeah, the dark night happens because it pushes you to the next level. Even those who are advanced, even those who are enlightened, they still go through that. Even Mother Teresa went through a dark night of the soul. But even these popular icons, they were going through the dark night. So at whatever level you're at, when your soul wants you to go to your next level, you go through this dark night.
Right. And so I resonate so much with what you said about finding a mentor. And if we were to ask you, because I also read this book about, like, I love self-help books, but so I would bet you have a lot of mentors also. So if you were asked that question, who would you have on your, like, board of life? Who have you gathered?
Okay. Well, I have gathered quite a few in the past, but when I moved to Ilocos, when I discovered Ilocos Sur, my mentor is Master Del Pe. So the teachings that I got from all other mentors I encountered, all of it I found in his teachings, but his teachings are all way, way advanced compared to the others that I've encountered.
Yeah. And still on the topic of mentors, you mentioned earlier, like, how finding a mentor is a great way to help you on your journey towards self-mastery, right? But earlier in the conversation, we also said that, when you're ready, a teacher appears, a mentor appears. So are there ways that our listeners can do to get them in that state of preparedness, so that they can attract the mentors that they're meant to have?
Well, yes, that's a good question. Well, it helps that you always have eagerness to learn, right? Eagerness to feed your soul. And I can recommend some meditations, like the one that I taught you earlier. That would really make a person more advanced, because it will align your heart, mind, and soul connection. Right. So even with just that's a very, very quick and easy technique to learn, right?
Yes.
So even with just that would already make you upgrade your whole system.
Cool. And you're talking about the synchronized breathing meditation, right?
Yes.
Lesley actually shared it with us, like, off air, like before we started recording this. So perhaps, like, with your permission, Lesley, if it's okay, if we can share that with our listeners, probably through our social media. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. No problem. It's
awesome. So to anyone listening, just watch out for them. We'll share them on our social media and probably in the podcast description, so you know exactly what we're talking about here.
So that's just one of the things that they can do. Just always have that desire to grow, desire to learn, desire to connect with your soul. And whatever practice you're doing right now, then just go deeper into that practice of connecting to your higher self, higher purpose. And also, eat clean, because the cleaner you are, the cleaner your system is, the easier for you to also align. Because if you're congested with so many bad things that you put in yourself, then there are more barriers for you to align to your higher self, right? So just always, be clean outside and inside, and have that practice, like a deeper meditation practice, like what I taught you earlier. That's just even one of our basic meditations.
Yes.
So we even
easy.
It was very easy. It's one of our easiest, but it's very, very powerful. And we have more advanced meditations that will really get you to a higher level of your expansion and growth and enlightenment.
Well, thanks for sharing those tips. I'm sure a lot of our listeners would really benefit, especially once they start incorporating, if they aren't already, those practices, those meditation, and ensuring that, or working towards like cleaning themselves, like internally and externally through those practices.
And another thing is, I would recommend for people to do a SWOT analysis. So,
right.
You're familiar with SWOT, right? The strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You don't just need to do it in a corporation. If you're doing a SWOT analysis for a company, you can also do it on yourself. Do a SWOT analysis of yourself. Analyze what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, your opportunities, threats. Just have a pure thinking time once a week. Because, you can get so busy all the time, right? But now I guess it's less busy because of the new normal. But have that time with yourself, not doing anything, not even meditating. So aside from your meditation time, aside from your whatever other practice you do, like yoga or whatever it is that you do, have that pure thinking time, like an hour or 2 hours of just you assessing, evaluating your life and what you want to do with your life and where you're at, right? Just have that time for yourself. And, you'll be surprised what will come up there. And it's good to just really connect, just because it's so easy to be disconnected because of the so many things that we have, like this one, the phone, the internet. So we're always connected, but we're actually very disconnected.
Yes.
We need to connect with ourselves and our higher self.
And I guess that's a great tool. Yeah, the SWOT analysis like primes you into that growth mindset. Like once you put yourself in that state, I mean, it's like you're putting out there that like, you're ready. It's like one way to ready yourself towards growth.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think if you are already thinking about how you will become ready, then you are actually already ready.
Yeah.
That's actually already a sign that you're ready. Because some people that won't even think about it, won't even consider it. People who are listening right now are ready. Because why would you listen to this podcast if you're not ready?
Exactly.
Maybe you're looking for something that you're not sure yet what you're looking for. It's not an accident that you're listening to this podcast right now. Maybe because it's a topic that you needed to hear. Maybe you're here because you are looking for higher truths in life and wanted to just go to your next level. Whatever level you're at right now, maybe it's time for you to go to the next one.
And I think like mentors aren't always like that one person we talk to in one-on-one sessions. It could also be a podcast. It could also be a group or some show that you resonate with that teaches you something. Yes. It could also be that, right?
Absolutely. Yes, it can be. I mean, I started out like that, gathering different content and different teachings from different sources, right? But as I have said, once you are, the more advanced you are and the more serious you are in your path or in your search, the more you understand that enlightenment path needs to have proper guidance. It actually needs a curriculum. It's not just the meditation. It's not just the reading this, listening to this. There's an actual curriculum to that. So that's what I also realized when I went to this path that I'm on. There's an actual curriculum to help you in your enlightenment path. And of course, the content that we get online or courses we enroll in, wherever we enroll, all those will help. But if you really want to achieve a highest enlightenment in this life, there is a curriculum for that.
Well, thank you for bringing us back to that, to the curriculum, grounding us with the need for sort of structure if we really want to push ourselves towards self-mastery. And we're serious about that. So thank you.
No, just for our listeners, since you mentioned that there's that phase, there's anyone who would want to get in touch with you, whether that's self-care, self-development, and self-mastery, how can they reach you?
They can reach me at my Facebook page. Send it to you. Hold on. It's
don't worry, guys. We're gonna link that. We're gonna link that in our description. But out of all the channels, Facebook will be the best place, right?
Well, Facebook, I usually respond to the Facebook page because I have a Facebook page. It's called Be in Shape. Yeah. I actually put there the different things that I do.
Yeah.
So you can message me there in the Be in Shape page on Facebook. And then I also do consultations, free consultations for those who are seekers or who are in this path of seeking, or if you have any conditions, health conditions, or whatever it is that you're going through, I am open to giving a free consultation to the listeners right now. So just contact me. I can give you a free consultation. And you can also visit our website for the Wisdom Institute for Global Leadership, for Leadership and Global Advancement. It's www.wilgaglobal.com. So again, that's www.wilgaglobal.com. You'll see there what we do. And if you want to see the other things that we also do, it's under the umbrella of masterdelpe.com. So if you go to that site, or I can just give you the link that they can click on in this interview.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm sure, because you wear so many hats, there's a lot of other topics that we can explore, but we'll reserve that for other episodes. But for now, we thank you so much for sharing your experience with us and wisdom when it comes to self-mastery. And I really hope that our listeners have taken away a lot that can help on their journeys towards self-mastery. So thank you.
So
yes, for sure. We'll provide the links in our description. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to Sage Conversations.
If you found some value from our content, share your thoughts with us on Instagram and Facebook and tag us at Sage Conversations Podcast. That's SAG Conversations Podcast. Please subscribe and share this podcast with people you know and love. Every bit will help us grow our circle.
Once again, thank you so much. We love you. And until the next episode, trust your power and light within.